Right now I'm working on a piece about the carriage maker, automaker, and the developer William A. Patterson. Two of his buildings are still standing, the Patterson building and the drying building, which is over a century old and is being renovated, as you know. However, he has some other buildings. One of them, now the St. Paul's Episcopal Church parking lot, housed a former factory building, which later became known as the Brownson Fisher building. And across 3rd Street from that was another factory building, built in 1892, which after Patterson's company folded, this was 1923, it, along with Patterson Mill, became office and retail space. The older building, where the Anna Center for Children now stands, that was converted into an office building called the Bengali Building, which housed several different labor unions. It was the base of operations for the 1936-1937 sit-down strike. But in doing my research, I learned that back then it was a rickety old building. But during World War II, it became abandoned, was torn down and became a parking lot after the war. So if anyone has any info on the Bengali building, I've asked UAW Local 1D and also St. Paul's Episcopal Church, where Mr. Bengali, would you believe, was once the director of that church, way back when. So hopefully I'll get some responses. And now for my latest feature, which is inspired by, here's some news. Unless you pass by Ballinger Highway near Flushing Road, you probably didn't know this, but that old Action Auto store, which is basically a gas station and service center, closed for years, it was torn down. Of course, those old Action Auto stores had a unique roof design, which, if you look at the surviving buildings, such as that Chrysler dealership in Clio, that used to be an Action Auto, and there were some gas stations, mostly Speedway and Admiral stations, with a unique roof design on the canopies and on the buildings. That shows that used to be an Action Auto. So, here's a piece I wrote about Action Auto, which is subtitled, "It seemed to be a good idea in the late 1970s. I have to excuse me, those a little wrong with the change in seasons. I got cold season variety of tea, and I've been drinking some hot chicken flavored consommé mix. Don't worry, it's both kosher and vegan. So I've been used to taking that to suit my throat too. So here's that Action Auto piece. A lasting effect created by the 1970s energy shortages was the way we get our gasoline. In a few short years, we went from full service stations which pumped the gas, checked the oil, and fixed your car. Remember Back to the Future? To making ourselves content with self-service stations which offered pump your own gas and sold convenience store items without any service bays. This created an opportunity for three brothers, Richard, Robert, and James Sable, to open an auto parts store in Flinn called Action Automotive in 1976. The auto parts store was successful enough for the brothers to open more stores in former Sunoco stations, which of course also offers Sunoco gasoline. One of them was the former Action Auto No. 2, which stood on Center Road at I-69 in Burton, and began as a converted Sunoco station, still offering Sunoco gas. It expanded to include service bays and even had an outbuilding which served as a training center. It was torn down in 2004 and is now a vacant lot with a former training center still standing. Unlike most Action Auto stores, this one did not reopen as anything else. That site was contaminated and is listed as EPA Superfund site. No one wants to be saddled with the environmental cleanup cost, which explains why that location was abandoned. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Starting with a one-store in 1976, it grew to 27 stores in 1984. By 1986, Action Auto was doing $60 million in annual business with a chain of combination auto parts, repair, and self-service gas stations with locations throughout central Michigan. The company went public in 1987 when they had 52 stores and a long-term debt of $16.4 million. The Action Auto management was very ambitious and even offered franchises. They wanted to be the McDonald's for your car and designed a unique hip roof not only for one-stop auto shops, but also for its gas station canopies. They even made the roof design a registered trademark. The unique design of the roof allows you to figure out which locations were former Action Auto stores. In 1988, it grew to 67 stores and opened a huge distribution warehouse at the corner of Longway and Naval in Flinn. But the rapid growth created a staggering $36.2 million long-term debt. At its peak, it was a $100 million operation with 71 stores. But the combination of rapid growth and undercapitalization was the company's Achilles heel. And the company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in 1990. Action Auto auctioned off 50 properties, including 12 stores, reducing the number of stores to 45. Most of the Action Auto stores, 32 of them, were sold to Total Petroleum in 1991, and most were converted to Total stations. I believe Total sold the locations which were located near existing Total locations. The number of Action Auto properties Total acquired increased to 55 stores after a deal was made with the state of Michigan, limiting Total's liability for former Action Auto properties which were contaminated sites to $14.2 million. These Total stations were later converted to Speedway stations after Speedway parent Marathon Action Petroleum bought Total's retail operations in Michigan. What's left of Action Auto became ServiceMax Tires and Auto Centers of Michigan, owned by an investment firm, which leased the service bays of former Action Auto stores from Total. There were 27 ServiceMax shops which initially offered parts and service, but switched to the more profitable mix of tires and service. But that didn't last very long. Locally, ServiceMax shrank from 7 locations in 1994 to 2 in 1997 and none in 1998. One former Action Auto in Collab became a Chrysler dealership, and you can still see the distinctive Action Auto look on this dealership. Some former Action Auto locations were acquired by Coopersville, Michigan-based Admiral Petroleum, which converted the service areas of the locations to retail space. The downfall of Action Auto / ServiceMax led to former executives facing criminal charges. I'll just skim through this. One was indicted in 1999, Donald Nance, on 10 counts of tax evasion, 1 count of bank fraud for defrauding banks in 1994 and 1995 by submitting false financial statements to the banks on loans of $175,000, and 1 count of making false statements by applying for loans using his position as ServiceMax president and using the money for personal rather than business reasons. Just skim through. He pled guilty in 2000 for filing false tax returns for the 1993 tax season. Was sentenced to 70 months in prison, fined $100,000, and was ordered to pay $82,000 restitution to the banks. Federal Judge Paul Godola called Nance a master of deception. The multiple bankruptcy filings led to raise the suspicions of federal authorities. In October 1997, a government informant said that he and Action Auto co-founder and chairman Charles Sabo went to a pond behind Sabo's Grand Blanc home, poured diesel fuel on about a dozen boxes containing corporate records, and burned them. The former business executive told federal officials he believed some of the boxes contained corporate documents. Sabo was ordered to surrender to a federal grand jury. In April 2001, Sabo pled guilty to several charges, including admitting he took money from his employee's 401k plan to help one of his ailing companies. He denied destroying the company documents, but admitted he didn't turn over required records to the grand jury. The IRS, the FBI, and the Labor Department jointly investigated Sable's case. He was sentenced in November 2001 to 13 months in federal prison, or to pay restitution of $78,280 and fine him $50,000. James Sable's indictment indicated that he committed bank fraud between 1992 and 1994 by securing credit lines totaling $2.57 million and borrowing $590,000 using forged signatures and false information. While some former locations were torn down for redevelopment or are vacant, there are former locations which still service gas stations and convenience stores, which are mostly Speedway or Admiral locations, and the former location in Vienna Township is still a Chrysler dealership. And one more thing. The Genesee County Historical Society asked me to do an election in February, where I would do a slideshow of some interesting pictures I've come across over time, so watch for that. It'll be sometime in February, no dates specific. And I thank you very much.